Welcome to the Voice of Reason. I'm your host, John Martin, and I have one guest with me tonight, Rob Koenig, and we're going to talk a lot about water, I think, but not the kind you drink. Why don't we start with you, Rob, with your problems with the lake?
Sure, John. Well, thank you for inviting me once again. We will miss Dr. Garabedian on this session. However, he's still in our hearts and minds. I'd like to first start out by thanking you for having a bunch of us over for a summer picnic, shall we say, at your house for your wife's birthday. Big birthday, shall we say. And Elaine celebrated in style, as she always does, and had it catered this time, which was a big plus. So a big shout out to Napoli's. They did a great job, and all the food was ready and delivered. So it was a big catering operation.
We picked it up.
You guys picked it up, but it saved me from doing the cooking.
Oh, yeah.
Is what it wound up doing.
Got you out of the grilling, yeah.
Got me out of the grill, out of the heat. So that was nice. A very nice event. Thank you for having us over. And this week, I just wanted to bring up a few things. You know, as we are here, called the Voice of Reason, we like to talk about different things that are in and about the town, the good, the bad, and the ugly, shall we say. So let me start out with the good. I happen to be online this week on one of the Shrewsbury Facebook sites, and this mother put out this note saying, you know, she was a little mad at these kids. She has a 10-year-old child, or maybe 13-year-old child, and she invited other kids to come over for the child's birthday. She probably sent out about 25 invitations. A bunch of them came back saying they were going to come. So little Maya was her name, was waiting on the steps from what they said. No one showed up. The kid was so disappointed. So the town has rallied around her on the Facebook sites, and they're putting together this Maya Day party for kids that, you know, maybe have special needs, and anybody in that age range is going to be able to come, and it's going to be held at Dean Park on August 26th from 3 o'clock to 7 o'clock. And it's going to be a very interesting event, and it looks like it's going to be a town-wide event. Everyone's going to be invited. Bring your kids. It's going to be all kinds of events to do there. And it's really been interesting to see the whole town come together on something like this. So I really applaud the people in town that have really come together to help this. I mean, this girl deserved better, and now she's going to get a birthday party she is never going to forget. So I really think this was one of the best things I saw that came out of an online forum and going into action this past week. And then, unfortunately, one of the other things I saw this week was there was a woman that wound up, they found her in Worcester on the lakeside, the lake park side, and she had drowned. They thought she had drowned at first, and a couple of days later, they found out it was actually a murder. So obviously you go to the closest ones first, and it turned out to be, you know, it's all allegedly her boyfriend at this point. So now he's in jail, or at least, you know, he's going to be going into trial for this to see if he was actually the one who did it. I mean, it can happen anywhere. It's sad to say. And we were talking about swimming lessons, because obviously, you know, I don't know if this woman was going to be able to swim away at that point, or if something happened before. But, you know, I think back to different school districts, and I know a lot of them have access to, say, a pool at a middle school or a pool at a high school in some districts. And so I was wondering, you know, what we had here in Shrewsbury to help kids learn to swim. And John, you had a few suggestions for us?
Oh, yeah, my son learned how to swim at both Y at Greendale, and also when they opened the new Y, he continued swimming in the Tri-County, the Tri-City Y, the borough. But they offered classes in the hotel in Westboro. We went there a few times. And then I heard they had rec department had a swimming classes off a pier in the lake. And so it's been spot duty. I think gymnastic classes, there's a building off of, close to, I want to say South Quincy
South
Avenue.
Quincy got Lake Ave, I think.
Yeah,
there's
it turns into Lake Avenue. And they have a little pool behind there. I remember keeping cool by the pool while they're in there exercising.
Oh, okay. So it's really not done through the schools in this town. It's more of done through private clubs like the Shrewsbury Tennis Club that they have off of Tennis Drive. That would be a place where kids can get lessons. I mean, maybe Andrea, Mrs. Snell, Parks and Rec. She probably has some programs also that you can check into to see if there's some learning programs, and then maybe even on the Worcester side, some of the beaches may hold some swimming lessons too. But it's definitely a good idea to become an active swimmer. You never know what type of situation one's going to be in at any age. It can come up.
Well, the whole reason for the Y having swim lessons in the beginning was for men, because men were going out and getting jobs in the woods and whatever, cutting trees and all that kind of stuff, and they were falling in the rivers and lakes and drowning. Nobody learned how to swim in the old days, so that's when the Y started having lessons for everybody. I took a swimming lesson once at the YWCA in Baltimore, but the water was so salty, I couldn't breathe. Just coughing, I had to get out of the pool. They were killing me.
Well, the good news is hopefully everybody will learn to swim at a young age so that anything arises, you have that ability. You fall through the ice in the winter, you want to be able to tread water until you get out of there. So there's plenty of different options that swimming is a very good idea to learn. Back through some of the items that I saw coming up on Facebook this week, there was one gentleman that wanted to start taking pictures of speeders going down his road.
Yes.
Taking pictures of people parked in handicap spots or people parked in fire lanes, and then basically do what they call Facebook shaming of them. It's kind of an interesting idea. However, I would caution him that he should look at any legal possibilities down the line, because somebody could sue him.
Well, I noticed recently in a discussion on TV, recording voice on a phone system, certain states don't require but one party's permission, and like the state of New York requires both sides of the parties to give permission to make it go public.
Ah, okay.
Or not to make the recording start with. And so it depends on the state. I'm not sure where Massachusetts is with their rules and regulations, but I do know, I haven't heard any cases lately of anybody being wiretapped.
It's going to be interesting if he does go ahead with this. He certainly has, I think he did get some legal advice not to talk to the people, not to show their license plates. But you're still going to shame them, hopefully. But the big pet peeve for me is usually the people parking in the fire lanes and handicap parking. Say, you're using your mother's car, she's handicapped, you get the car. Are you allowed to park in a handicap spot because you just happen to have the car and the card hanger?
That's illegal use of the card.
I agree. I just saw one at White City just a few minutes ago before I came over here. And then, the real big thing about the fire lane issue, not only that fire trucks have to show up there and they need a place to park, there's not supposed to be any standing in a fire lane. I mean, it's being in your car, keeping your car on, waiting for somebody to run in there, the passenger to go in there and get something and come back. That's standing. There shouldn't be any standing. But what happens in a tight area, like our parking lots, a lot of times the two cars can't get by because you have a third car there that's in the fire lane. And a lot of times people come out of the shopping center and they've got their cart. And they can't get by the car because the guy or the woman parked in the area where the cart has to come down off the sidewalk. So I think it's a rude thing. I think these people think they're entitled, and they should be shamed in one way or another. Because I'll tell you, the parking ticket for that is a lot higher than you would assume, and especially parking in a handicap space.
Well, you can go to jail for illegal use of the card.
Oh, okay, yeah.
30-day jail time.
No kidding. Okay, so that's good to know. And
You
I
gotta-
think some of them have pictures now on the cards.
What I don't understand is you're supposed to have a sleeve over the pictures so you can't see the picture when it's hanging there. I couldn't understand that. I mean, I could see if you got stopped, to say, hand me the card, and then big surprise, the driver's not the picture.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know why they covered it up. I have no idea.
Interesting. Yeah, that's something to look into. And the other big one on Facebook this week is people giving away items that they know they're going to have to pay to get disposed of, whether it's a couch, e-waste, an old computer, an old TV. Why are these people giving this stuff away?
Because they don't want to pay for
they don't want to pay for the disposal.
That's right.
Because yes, you have to go and pay for your e-waste, your old TVs. Maybe it's $10. You drop them off. I know one of the churches holds an event. Sometimes there's other e-waste that also work as a fundraising opportunity for some people in town. Whoever they have to get
donate
the truck.
your car.
Donate your car. Cars for Kids. That's another one. So the ones they're giving away a couch. Somebody was giving away this ugly, destroyed couch. Maybe there was going to be a chance that somebody could rehab the couch and bring it back to life. But it certainly looked to me that they just wanted a free ride, somebody to come over there, pick up their couch, take it away, and do it for free. Not going to happen. So that's why they have $10 stickers. You got to go buy a couple of them for a big couch like that, one on each piece, and have them disposed of correctly. And I think
I don't think Shrewsbury picks up with something that big.
they may not even pick up something that big, but people would try it. You can try it with a $10 sticker and see if they're going to take it, or else you're going to have to contact Pellegrino, maybe directly, and they have a special, pickup that they'll come out and dispose and charge you accordingly. What else do we got around town this time of year? The finishing up of the Route 9 project. They're finally getting to the last phases of where they're doing lines on the pavement, and there's going to be some punch list items at certain intersections that they're going to have to come and put some special asphalt down. But the 3 new lights that they did: South Street, Lake Street, and Oak Street. 2 of them have the pedestrian crosswalks, but the third one, the one at South Street, does not. Now you're going to have a CVS there on one side. The new CVS is going to open up, and the old CVS is staying in business. You've got those apartments. A lot of people are going to walk from those apartments, and you've got the grocery store on the other side. So when people want to cross the street at that area where there's no crosswalk, they're taking their life in their hands. Or they better know how to time those lights, because it's a long way across once you start out on 4 lanes of traffic heading across Route 9.
It'd be like the guy that pulled out in front of me getting on to Route 9 or Route 140 today. He didn't have the space in either direction to get out into it. The one on the far side would keep streaming by, so he slowed down to stop. Then the ones coming at him on the other side stopped. Then the final guy said, "Okay, get in," because he was going to have a 3-way accident. He was really trying hard.
So he wasn't letting the merge go on.
Well, what I'm saying is there was no merge allowed
Okay.
at the end of Prospect and 140 there in front of the church.
Okay, yeah.
You have to look around a bush.
Yeah, that's a tough
toughie.
tough to get out of there. Yeah.
Can't see very far.
No.
But then the people coming out of the intersection start speeding up to go north, on the freeway.
Yeah.
And so you have to really time their speed in order to get out and get in on the other side. Anyway, I found it quite interesting how we played bumper cars.
Mm. I mean, people want to live in that area of town because it's one of the nicest areas. It's quiet back there, but getting in and out from the center of town, especially coming down if you want to go past the library, can be tough. Speaking of libraries, the library had an incident over the past, I think it was 7 to 10 days ago, where they found drugs at the library.
Yeah, and it was, I guess they closed one night and somebody put powdered heroin in a disposable bucket. It was paper waste. Why they did that, I have no idea. It makes no sense. But when the janitor came through to empty it out, to move it on to its final destination, he saw this bag in there, a little powder, wasn't paper. They'd been better off putting it in a regular trash disposal, and they probably wouldn't have checked anything.
So they did. They called in a pretty good response, I think.
Oh yeah, you tell me about how overkill that was.
I thought it was a little overkill, but yeah, better safe than sorry when you're talking about kids and the library, to make sure there's nothing.
Well, you do
nothing
have to,
more.
You have to count. You have to call authorities that can actually test the powder to see what it is. And I mean, flour doesn't get you in jail.
Yeah.
Or sugar.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting you mention that because this actually happened to me this week. I thought there was a package of cheese, powdered cheese, Parmesan cheese,
Yeah.
in my fridge. I take it out, I look at it. It wasn't labeled. Somebody had put it in there, so I looked at it. I took a little, try to taste it, and it turned out it was laundry detergent.
Ew.
So it's a very good idea to make sure anything is labeled in your kitchen. And things that shouldn't be in the kitchen shouldn't be in the kitchen. Because if you think it's food, you're going to sprinkle it on some pasta. Uh-oh, and I almost did. I had to rinse my mouth out. So for about an hour, I was sucking on a lemon, trying to get the taste out. Because I guess this Tide Pod thing, you ever see those Tide Pods now?
Yeah.
People use those, and they put them in their mouths, and they bite them. It's like a Tide Pod challenge, and it may give them, some sort of euphoria high for sucking on these things. But man, it was nasty. Just a piece that I had in my mouth. So I highly recommend not to do that ever. And then finally, I just heard that Edgemere is about to have all their water pipes replaced. So it's going to be a big operation all through Edgemere. What they do is they come in, they actually don't replace the pipes. They put new water pipes in the ground. This is going to be the water pipe feed. They don't take the old one out, they just put the new one on top of it because it would be hard to dispose of this. So that's going to be a big operation for Edgemere. It's going to be a lot of detours, a lot of noise, a lot of brown water, most likely kicking up in sediment. And then when they finally complete it, hopefully they're going to repave over the whole street, not just certain areas where the pipes, where they dug. Because that happened on Lake Street, and even going up and down Lake Street now, you have to go literally 20 to 25 miles an hour because of all the bumps that are still there. It's a good traffic calming technique, without a doubt.
Oh yeah, we'll put a lot of bumps in, you'll slow you up.
And it works. So maybe that's what has to happen on some of these other roads that people think they've got speeders on, is that you put some speed bumps in. That slows people down.
Well, I had a break in my water pipe coming to the house on the 4th of July. Water turned dark brown. It's the darkest I've ever seen it, in my neighborhood anyway. And so they replaced the pipe the next day. It was pretty fast.
So you had to call the town? You called the town, or you called a plumber?
Oh no, this was the feed going right down North Street.
Oh, the feed pipe, okay, yeah.
And so they knew, they can tell before the water reaches the surface that they've lost water pressure. and they'll come running.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize how good they were until one year I was parked on Lake Street and in Route 90 at a traffic light, and then I saw water coming down the hill, and I thought it was going to come right at me, but there was a drop in the pavement, and there was a gutter going down the hill, and so I just made the turn. Before the traffic light changed for me to move, the town trucks had arrived.
That quick, huh?
It was quick, and they were digging right away.
Oh, great.
And I talked to the town engineer at that time, the one we had before, and he said this happened before. And so they knew exactly what to do, what caused it. As it comes down the hill there, the ground, what's under the ground, how many feet down it is, about 6, I guess, slides. And it gets a hold of that pipe, which anchored solid at the top, and then it moves, it actually breaks the pipe off. Because they're made of plastic. They're not as strong as you might think as a steel pipe.
Mm.
But so when I asked about it, they said, well, they were going to give up on that pipe and put steel one back in just for that section because they needed a stronger pipe to hold up the ground sliding around from under it. So anyway, I did stop by the water department to talk to the superintendent there, but the water superintendent, and he wasn't in, so I did talk to one of his helpers, and they reminded me that most of the pipes in town are made out of plastic, which creates the dark water. There's so much magnesium in the water coming out of the filtering system, it catches on the inside of the pipes. Now, it won't do any problems with you until you get a strong flush to actually wash them out and into the stream. And that's what happens every time I get phone calls now. You know, there might be a break 4 miles away.
Mm-hmm,
And they say you may get, some kind of dark water because it starts flushing miles and miles of pipe and picking up lots of magnesium and flushing it down. The worst one I saw was on Route 9 by the subway.
Oh, down by subway area and
There's a car wash right behind it.
right. Yeah.
The car wash pipe broke.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So everything between there, all the way back to the distribution point, which is up north by the water treatment plant, got good flushing.
Mm.
So I went in to use the bathroom, and the water in the bathroom toilet was black, absolutely black.
Yeah, there's been a lot of issues with that lately, and in fact, there was another water break right outside the library, but they're saying this is from an old pipe, probably 50, 60, 70 years old that was still there. It was like an old fire plug before the roads were widened, so there was a leak. They had to go in and fix that. So there's been a lot of not detours, but construction right in the center of downtown Shrewsbury. And now you can also see they're about to replace the pipes going up Main Street on St. John's Hill. So that's going to be a big operation too.
Yeah, I saw those pipes laying on the side of the road.
Yeah. It's a common.
Sewer lines are coming too on Route 20.
Yeah, that's going to be big. I thought we're going to split some of our waste to Worcester. Is that how it's going to go?
Yeah, they're going to go up Route 20 and say, from here back, you go to Blackstone Valley.
Mm.
And so, and it's a good thing they're doing that because every time we tried to put in something big along that line, we couldn't really do it because we didn't have enough water pressure for the sewer lines to pump it to Westboro. And so there was a big price tag, millions of dollars, in order just to fix it up so that they could push the sewer line products up the line, up the road. And now they're going to put in a new sewer pump station. I believe the town approved in May $5.9 million for improvements of that nature along Route 20. Obviously, they took years to get permission to put in any connections to apartments that are along Route 20 that are already been planned, but they couldn't get the agreement as to who would pay for the connections. And the connection was over a couple of hundred feet long. Had to go across the street, up the road to some church where there's an ending of a line.
Oh, right, yeah, Liberty Church, yeah.
Liberty Church. And so, and I remember one day they were trying to make a deal. The developer says, I'll pay for this one, you pay for that one. Because for whatever reason, it was just, both of them were costly, but they were trying to get a better deal for their developer. Because once you tack that cost on to the price of the property, it's a lot harder to sell.
Mm.
And so I checked with the town engineer just a week or so ago, and he says they're going to start doing that improvement. They said start digging this fall, be done by next year.
Oh, good, because I
And
know
so-
the Edgemere project is starting to pick up speed. Edgemere driving, yeah.
Well, yeah, I went and checked with a couple of my friends about that. One was the town engineer. I also checked with the building inspectors. There's been nothing moving. Talk about no motion. There hasn't been the first meeting about Edgemere or another project there. I forgot what the name it was. There were two of them being developed.
Oh, the Stony Brook one, the 40B
No,
project?
not Stony
further
Brook.
down.
They were going to start this fall with their connections, which means they can start to build. But there were two more. The Edgemere Drive-In was one, yeah. There was another one. I forgot.
Is it the one that Sam Adams owns behind Subway? That whole big tract of land where the Pepsi plant?
No,
hopefully-
this was on Route 20.
Oh, okay.
This project's in line on Route 20 with the same problems with getting sewer lines connected and stuff like that. So they think within 2 years they'll have two more projects. There's supposed to be a project on Cherry Street on Route 20. I haven't heard about it in a while, but they had somebody lined up to go in there. They gave them the street, south side of Cherry Street. They turn over to the developers so they can make parking lots or whatever they have to do to get their projects in. So they just gave it away. Otherwise, things don't get done.
Yeah.
It's almost time to say goodnight. But I will say, we've talked a lot of things, but one thing I wanted to talk about in the future was the development of improvement of education. It's complex. Take me all night to explain it. Good night, folks. Thank you, Rob.